when you go live, just let me know. I'll get
Oh, we're live
your-
now.
Okay, fantastic.
So we're live. We have a guest today, Tobias. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Tobias from Germany, 28 years old. Yeah, entrepreneur, men's coach, and for the last 6 years already out of Germany. So just basically traveling the world. I mean, you could say 1 year Australia, 3 years in Spain, but then traveling the world, and yeah, just living life and yeah, making good connections.
Awesome. And you're in Argentina now?
Oh yeah, right now I'm in Argentina, Buenos Aires,
Mm-hmm.
and for since 3 weeks already, or almost a month. And yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next, but that's my life for a long time already. So we
Cool.
shall.
Actually, one thing. How did you get to Argentina? Like, what path led you there?
So I went in June 2020. I went to Colombia for 5 months, and then I went to the US for 1 month for a client, working with them one-on-one. And then the World Cup was going on, so I was like, oh, I want to go see the world, like, because the US is not big in soccer, right? So it's
Right.
like, okay, well, I'm going to see the World Cup. So I went to Brazil, and I stayed in Brazil for 3 months. I have a lot of friends in Brazil. And then after 3 months, the visa's over, and I was like, I've never been to Argentina. Argentina's close. I speak Spanish, so let's check out Argentina. And that's how it happened. But I
Awesome.
didn't know it's going to be that hot. So I arrived in Argentina. It was, as I said, 90 degrees. And yeah, it was 2 weeks of just basically staying inside because it was just too warm. And since a few days, it's cooling down. So now is actually the time where I can explore Buenos Aires for the first time properly.
Nice. Is it like a humid heat, or is it more like desert?
Yeah, it is. It is humid. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish it would be the desert stuff, but because we are on the sea, so we have like 36 Celsius, and then you always have, and because of the humidity, you have like a few degrees more.
Yeah. That's how it is in my state, in Florida.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah, that's my story basically.
Yeah.
How did you get started?
How to get started? You mean traveling or entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship. Yes.
Entrepreneurship. Yeah, that's a good question. So I had my first job when I was 16, obviously just like supermarket stuff, and I hated every second of it. So I knew from the get-go, like, I don't want to work for anyone. I want to do my own stuff. And then when I was 20, I had like another job in a factory, and it was like the most soul-crushing thing ever. And that was the time where I was like, oh my God, we really have to change something, or we're gonna end up like these guys, like in their 50s and just hating life, right?
Yeah. I think every entrepreneur has that moment.
Oh my God, I was 20 and I never had like a 40-hour job, and I got that, and it was in summer as well, and I was like, holy shit. Like after 2 hours, I was like, when is it over?
Yeah.
It was just like taking car parts and put it on the belt, right? For 8 hours straight.
That's how it was for me, going into an office every day.
Yeah,
For the
office.
pandemic, I was like, this isn't for me. Yeah.
But I prefer office. In the office, at least you can distract yourself or something. But in the factory, you're just like,
yeah, that's true. Very repetitive.
So I went home, like on the first day I went home, holy shit, this is like what the adult life is looking like. This can't be real. So I started reading like books about money, like Rich Dad Poor Dad, like Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, all these, like, just getting knowledge about how to make money. Right? At that point for me, making 2K a month was like a goal, like a good goal for me. Right? Like, and when I'm 40, I make 2K. That's actually good, you know. So I was like, this can't be happening. So yeah, just reading books, and then I had a lot of ideas for entrepreneurship. But when I was 20, I was broke, super broke, and I had no idea. I had no mentor. I didn't know anyone who has a successful online business, and so I started some things here and there, but never really worked out. Then I went traveling to Australia. And in Australia, I was like thinking already, like, okay, I have to do something. And then I came back from Australia. I was already 23 at that point. And then I started my first Amazon FBA project. You guys know Amazon FBA, right?
Is that like drop shipping?
Yeah, it's ordering on Alibaba.
Oh, okay. And then flipping it on Amazon?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In bulk, you make your own pictures and you sell on Amazon.
Yeah.
So that was my first venture. I only had like, I think 1 or 2K to invest or something. And it actually was going quite good. But then I went to Budapest to just get out of Germany again. And there was so much distraction going on, like going out, meeting new people, going this and that. So yeah, the business was kind of sliding to the side. And as a young guy, I had like other interests.
Yeah.
So that business didn't really go well. And then I moved to Barcelona straight after and just was working in an office again.
Yeah.
So actually until I was 25, I was still just working 9 to 5. And I'm 28 now. So yeah, I was in the office and better than the factory, but still not what
Didn't
you
cut
want.
it. Yeah.
Didn't cut it, especially in Spain. If you know the wages in Spain is horrendous. So and then I went traveling again, and then I met some coaches. I lived with a dating coach.
Oh, okay.
And because of my interests, the 5 years I had before, I was already in the dating sphere. I was going out self-development since I'm 20, as I said, with all the poverty from before. And they were like, you should. Like I asked them, like, I want to coach as well, and they're like, yeah, you should definitely coach as well.
Yeah.
And then I got a few months later, I got my first gigs for coaching in Mexico.
Nice.
And I got some experience, and then I went back to Spain. And one of the big coaches, one of my friends, he sent me clients. So he sent me my first clients, and I made my first money in 3 days, more money than I ever made before. Right?
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, and from that point on, I was hooked, but I was kind of dependent on him. So after a few months, I was like, wait a second, like I should do my own thing. I don't want to be dependent on him, right? I don't want to be waiting like, oh, look, are you sending clients or not, right?
Right.
And then I got a business coach, how to start your own coaching business, and from there on, that's where we are right now. And
awesome.
So a couple questions about it. What significance or why do you feel it's important to be a coach in the dating sphere?
Coach in the first place is because I think of myself like super or quite empathetic, and I love to help people out, and I hate to be. I'm an introvert, but I still love to be with people one-on-one, right? So I don't like big groups, but I like to help people like specifically, right? That's why I also don't do group coaching, and that's why I do one-on-one coaching. But yeah, the thing is, because I had a lot of knowledge when it comes to social dynamics and self-development in general, and then I went into coaching because it was like my calling, basically.
Cool.
So what kind of age demographic do you usually work with? Like younger males, older males, or females?
No females so far, because as a man I have a better understanding about like the struggles of man, right? So my clients go from 21 till 48, so it's the whole range.
I was telling you before, the demographics of like this audience is probably 18 to 40ish or so, and finance people, people that listen to finance stuff, so probably not your most extroverted people. Yeah,
that's actually true. Like the dating, I know one of my friends, he's a dating coach as well. He only specializes in software engineers. It's like only software, because the whole IT software engineers, it's usually quite common that they are not the most outgoing, most extroverted, don't have so much success.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though they have so much to offer, right? That's really the thing.
Oh yeah, very smart. Yeah.
That's also one of the things. Like they're quiet and they're introverted and they don't show much, but they have so much to offer actually.
Right.
And then you have like the guy who's getting all the chicks basically, but he's like super simple, like not really no depth to him, right? And that's also one thing. Like you wanna show the guys who are introverted that they can date successfully as well.
Yeah.
Because I come from the same background. Like I had huge struggles socially when I was younger, and that's why I was attracted to this kind of stuff in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, getting onto YouTube and stuff, like I saw like trying to get out of the 9-to-5 grind, and I saw like other people on here around my age, and I think Andre could say the same thing. Like we saw these other influencers, they had millions of followers, and we were like, wow, like we know just as much about finance, you know, if not more. Like we could do this too, you know. So that's kind of what inspired the channel and stuff like that. It hasn't grown too fast, but it's been okay. You know, it's getting there.
No, honestly, you told me like, yeah, if you have more than 1K subscribers, that's pretty good already.
You get
like
monetized with that, yeah.
Yeah, and these days, like YouTube is a grind, competitive.
It's competitive, yeah.
So having 1K is already, I think, quite an achievement, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a interesting grind, but I tell you, like, YouTube is a good place just to, you know, build and step on like the backside of your business. Like,
use it to get followers and then have other business ventures that they can use. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I should this today is probably the how's it called in English? The last ignition for me to start my channel as well. You know?
Yeah, there you go. See? Yeah.
Especially this I'll say you're in a good timing because everyone's trending with this whole dating culture, getting into like the relationship culture. And I think it's probably like a really good timing because some of the bigger channels are capping off. You have the Kevin Samuels, you know, obviously his channel, he's dead, so he's capping off. And you have some other channels exploding. So there's some good momentum that can be built from this wave.
Yeah. Even though I don't really want to go in my YouTube, I don't want to go too much into dating. I want to go more into general like man's improvement, man's development. I'm kind of, I mean, I've been in this for like 6 years. I'm kind of tired about like, oh, what to say to a girl to keep her interested, you know? Even though that's probably gets more views. But yeah, we shall see.
YouTube is definitely a views game. We've learned that.
Yeah, I mean, I just tell you like at a certain point, like for me personally, I don't focus on. I post a lot of videos, over 700 plus videos on YouTube, but I don't focus on the incomes. I just tell people like this is not worth it. The average income across YouTube is under part-time income, so you should be focused 100% on the back end. Yeah. That's for me. I mean, I built my business without YouTube, right? So for me, YouTube is just going to be a little addition for getting in front of people and getting better in front of camera as well.
It does that, that's for sure. I would say it helped me with job interviews and stuff too.
Yeah. I can imagine,
we will be live on Rumble in about 30 seconds.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, I see a ton of like self-improvement channels on here. There's actually a ton of that. So there's definitely a market for that.
Yeah. On you mean on Rumble?
Well, YouTube, Rumble, all the social media.
Yeah, on YouTube it's crazy. Like, so that's why I said like getting views and subscribers. It's like every single subscriber is like a win, you know.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, my channel is a self-improvement channel too, but it just focused on finances because I feel like once you master the finances, then everything else can fall into place. You know.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, this trend is very interesting, especially uploading placeholder. Okay, we got like 40 seconds, but like.
How old are you guys, by the way?
I'm 34.
I'm
really?
30s.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, I would have guessed you like in the late 20s, both of you.
Well, I'm reverse aging, so you know.
Counting backwards. Benjamin Button. Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. Like if you read health books and stuff, like you know, it can be done.
I saw something.
And so like the main thing, hit that gym, like especially like for me, I go to work. I work out twice a day, every day, pretty much every single day.
I just came from there actually. Yeah, I go before it closes.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, I gotta be careful. Like I have to use more sun protection, like because I'm like traveling in these beach South countries all the time, and I'm like the whitest man alive. So like can be difficult to.
If you come to Florida, without no sunscreen, you'll get roasted.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. And I lived 1 year in Australia, probably the worst UV you can find.
That's close to the equator, right?
Yeah.
So that's in
Australia, like skin cancer in Australia is like through the roof, unfortunately.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, actually, to go back, what kind of how's the dating culture since you've been in so many countries? How's the dating culture in Australia versus the other countries you've been to?
I mean, Australia, honestly, when I was in Australia, I was still like for half of the time with my ex-girlfriend. I went with her together. So, and the thing is in Australia, like all the backpackers, the tourists, they all stick together, right? So it's like the Australians are living their life, and then you have like the tourists living their life. So you don't have too much contact with actual Australians. So because it's like full of travelers who are going through. So you meet more Germans, English, and French people than you actually meet Australians.
Oh wow!
So it's hard to say, but I can tell you, compared to South America, compared to Europe, is a huge difference. Or like, I've been in the US as well. So like, Northern America is similar to Europe, and South America is a completely different ballgame. It's way more. It's less games here. I would say.
Oh, yeah. Actually, a cool question, especially when it comes to dating. So, how's the dating set up financially, like in those countries? Are like the males, do they pay for the first date, or how do they set that up, like initially?
Exactly, that's one of the big things, right? Down here, it's like they kind of reject feminism for a big part. So they're like, no, I don't want to be making the money. I'm not the one responsible to make money. I'm the one to be hot and be at home. I even had girls tell me that literally, like, what? No, I'm not paying for anything. I'm here to be like nice and feminine. Like we have the two roles, and that's really prevalent. And I heard a lot. I mean, my ex-girlfriend, not the first one, the other one, Brazilian, she was like a self-proclaimed anti-feminist. She's like, I don't know what's going on here in the West, but I don't want to do anything with this.
Yeah.
So it is. Yeah, that's the big reason why I'm only dating Latinas, basically.
Yeah. Because for me, like even going through, like I've talked to other people about this exact same subject, how American women are, but I'll say it's mainly through the manipulation of our current system that makes people think the same way. Because if you watch like the Fresh and Fit podcast, it's very interesting that they have women or people all around the country that have never met but think exactly the same. So you can conclude that there's something manipulating their thought process.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, feminism. That is 100% true. Like because I've been out of the northern sphere so much, I don't really know how bad it is, right? But I just know from people that the standards are through the roof. Like you need like 6-pack, 6 figures, 6-inch dick, and what else, right? Everything, and it's like, I don't know. It's like 1% of guys are like this, right?
Yeah, I've noticed like generational differences. Like older women want the man to pay and whatnot, but I'm seeing too some women, like they want to make the most money and still want the man to pay. So it's like, wow, you want both. And then like, I mean, me personally, I've never had that issue. Like, it's always been like, hey, I got it. You know what I mean? But, and then like the Gen Z, which I don't know what the cutoff is for Gen Z, but that demographic seems like a hard one to crack.
Yeah. I mean, you mean the TikTok generation?
Yeah. I would say like the main difference is the amount of manipulation that these people are being like subdued. Like it's interesting. Like I'm a millennial. Millennial, correct?
Yeah.
Our ones in technology, especially like social media, came in our almost 20s. So we're not subdued to so much entertainment as much as these individuals are, and their early development. So TikTok, to me, I mean, I don't understand why anyone's on TikTok unless it's for business. So if people are like 8, 9, 10 on TikTok, and they're watching it constantly, and they're what is that called? Their not click through rate. What is it? Their retention levels are decreasing because they're going through so much information so fast. They're just being brainwashed. And if you watch there's a podcast, not podcast. I'm sorry. There's an interview with the owners of TikTok. The owners of TikTok do not allow their children to actually have their own account on TikTok. that's showing them that TikTok is not good for basically young development. If you're an adult, it makes sense, but young development, you should stay away from TikTok.
You've heard too, I'm sure, how the algorithm, like in China, like they push their kids like business oriented stuff, but in America, it's like the more entertainment stuff.
Dancing kids, right?
It's different. The algorithm works differently depending on where you are.
Yeah, honestly, TikTok for me is really a sick app. Like, first of all, the 14-year-old girls dancing, like with showing stuff, it's just like, this is completely wrong in the first place. And then the attention span, right? The attention span is just like, boom. Even for me in my 20s, if I would have TikTok, I would also be like bop, 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 and you're completely roasting your brain. You're frying your dopamine.
Yeah.
And after that, you have like brain fog. You don't want to do anything else. I think it's a horror. Like, I mean, there has been like movies about it, like The Social Dilemma and this kind of stuff, right?
I was just gonna say,
about dopamine, but no one's gonna do anything about it. It's not regulated, and
there's so much money being made.
I'll say, and I'm happy to bring up that point about the regulation. I think this is where the failure of the family structure. So when it comes to basically, you're in the sector of men. Since men have basically been replaced with the government and basically just been outcasted, especially with feminism, since we don't have that structure, you're getting a young population, a young demographic watching basically BS and basically learning from BS, and people who are, I would say, bad influencers, bad people to be following, like Kim Kardashian. No one should be following her. That is a horrible example of what a female should be. And since so many people are following these examples, we remove the male as the head of the family, or just in the family in general, and basically in the States, I'll say Western countries, we remove that aspect of them being there. So now we have a very, I'll say, destroyed family outlook. And now this is corrupting all the way down to our current children now.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. It is. The thing is, like, where are all these people, all the women who are just like, I need this top notch guy and nothing else? Where are they going to be in 10 years? What are they going to do?
They're going to have to settle in 10 years.
No, they don't settle. They just live.
The older they get,
they get a cat.
Yeah,
they become a lesbian or die alone.
But
those are the two options.
At some point, it must dawn on them that didn't work out.
Yeah.
It's like me saying, like, I'm waiting to win the lottery, and if it's not happening, I'm not leaving my house. Like, I don't know. This doesn't work out, right?
There's another interview, especially with Kevin Samuels. He talked about the female influence and how they perceive music, how they get information from like Instagram. And if they keep on watching these social media platforms and they see, like, they're swiping through, oh, this person is on a yacht, this person's doing this, they put that upon themselves to have the exact same lifestyle or similar. And once this is, you put it on to millions of females, and because remember, social media is not on males, it's on females. Females consume social media on such a greater amount than males do. We consume video content much more than females do, but it's a little bit different. But these women are being basically just brainwashed by Kim Kardashian. Then you get Rihanna, you get every single celebrity, and they want that 1% male, which statistically they can't have. It's not going to happen.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. I had that with my last girlfriend as well. She was like always watching these Instagram videos where like people have like these romantic dinners in Paris or whatever, right? Or like breakfast. Like, I want this. I'm like, well, you didn't have a job for 3 months. Like, what do you mean you want this?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, just seeing this is, first of all, it's super cringe to me, seeing this these couples like, oh, we're so happy, and then as soon as the camera is off, like they hate each other or something. But I don't know, like how can you get so brainwashed? Like, you're 25, you should be more critical, right?
Yeah, and I would say that leads back to basically the family structure. A lot of people, they grow their children with social media as their teachers, their guidelines, and it just how the system is currently built. Because I don't think it's a government issue. I think it's just parents not taking control and owning up to the responsibility. If individuals took responsibility and said, hey, you need to stop watching that, stop listening to this type of music, because Cardi B, I don't know why people allow their kids to listen to Cardi B, and it happens in the States, and you can see it in the grocery stores. Like just going to, we have a place called Smith's, like it's kind of like Walmart, and you see she's like 13 or 14 because you see the body and stuff, right? And she's wearing a thong with a mini skirt and with like those little half t-shirts, and you're like, but that's not the problem. The problem is that the mother's wearing the exact same thing, or very similar to it.
Yeah.
So that type of influence is being taught as it should be normal. And then if a male or someone questions that, saying, "Hey, you need to basically not wear that," it's misogynistic.
Yeah. It's bullshit, man. I mean, sorry to say, but especially the US is like on a how do you say, on a steep decline when it comes to their women and their morals, and unfortunately, because in other countries, if you go to, say, Germany, I mean, not let's say Germany, let's say Spain, it's not that crass.
And I'll say, I would agree also, when you come to a dying nation, like when you look at that, like every historic way a country dies, first they die financially, and then they start filing politically. And then once they start getting politics, they start dividing the people. And once they divide the people from, it doesn't matter what it is. It can be LGBT, it can be Black Lives Matter. They have to divide the people. Once that division is created, the family structure starts breaking down.
Yeah.
And I think that America primarily is the leader in entertainment. And since we're the leader in entertainment, we cause this rupture to happen faster. So I'm happy the Asian country, because I've been to almost 40 countries now, and I'll say in Asia they haven't had the same influence of basically retardism in the States.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. That because it generates from there, right? So it's going to breed there faster than the rest of the world.
And it's very interesting. Like when it comes to this hip hop, like I listen to a lot of hip hop. The entire gross domestic product of just hip hop is more than most countries' entire income. Like it's amazing how much Americans consume just hip hop. And if we look at hip hop in the 90s, we don't see people shaking their butts. We don't see people, being very promiscuous as much today. Today you see, we got a song. Remember WAP with Cardi B? WAP, 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 WAP. That is the headliner. They get an award. And I don't know if it's an Academy, but they get or Oscar, something like that. How is that promoted as a good thing for people to be looking at? Like, wow, she got an Oscar for being a stripper and making a sexual song that has the same word repeated. How is that something that should be valued?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know when that happened, when the whole sexualization became so super normal. Like somewhere around the 2015 or something, I don't really know. But something really changed in the last years, how normalized that stuff all came.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like, let me hook up with 5 guys in a week, don't judge me. I'm killing it. I'm killing it.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, and since we're getting into this basically weak male, I mean, I would say this: if you look at the head of your country, if that person's a weak male, it will bleed through your entire system. In America, we have very poor leadership.
Yeah,
very, very. It's obvious.
Yeah,
these are the kind of things we get into every now and then.
Yeah. I mean, all over Europe, if you look at the guys, like, it's horrible. The best thing was in Belgium. The health minister in Belgium is like, she's like obese, like huge. And
really? She's the health minister.
Yeah.
Wow. Because I was going to say, at least one thing in Europe, like, people are thinner than they are in the United States. Like, there's so many obese people in the United States. I mean, no offense to anyone, but,
Yeah. I mean, I know that when people are adults and they can choose their lifestyle, but they have to understand that, like, there's a certain level where in the United States, if the average female weighs more than the average male, and that's especially true for black males. The average black female weighs more than an average black male.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And if you want to look at some cool statistics, look at the dating pool. Black females are the least chosen out of all races in the United States when it comes to out of black versus black or white versus white dating. Black women are chose last, and it shows also on dating apps like on Tinder. Black women are swiped. Was it, I think, right or whatever it's called, swiped desired. More than any other race. And and for when it comes to male demographics, Asian men are swiped less than any other demographic of males.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
But I would say it's what's led to the brainwashing of basically Americans. Americans are we're so influenced that if CNN, NBC, Fox News, if they want to say Black Lives Matter, for example, is an issue, every American will believe that. And they don't need facts. They don't need figures. They don't need evidence. They just need to see what the news says. And that's their evidence.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think the thing is in America, like it's all about profits, right? That's why they let people get so fat, because they make money, and then they can, like one of my buddies and ex-clients, he takes veins from people, and usually they're overweight, right? Veins out of the legs. And he's a multi-millionaire because of that. And
wow.
Without the shitty nutrition, he wouldn't be a multi-millionaire, you know? So it's like they are giving jobs. They're giving them the horrible food so they can 20 years later they can make a ton of money. And if they just give them the great food, they make less profit margin, and they can't make a lot of money 20 years later, right? So that's one thing as well. And then with the music as well, they just, everything that gets popular, it just milk it as much as possible. No regulation, which is good in many ways, but then bad in other ways.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because one of my friends is a producer, and when he's talking about the music that they'll select. So, for example, you have artists like J. Cole, who's more of a conscious artist, right? But you have artists today that are very, like, to say, poppy artists. So when you watch their videos, one talks about a message, but the other one talks about this BS, girls, cars, jewelry, etc. stuff. But that's only gonna be played on the radio. You don't hear J. Cole on the radio. You don't hear very conscious artists on the radio. Only that narrative. It has to fit that narrative.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of sad. Sometimes you gotta know why is all this stuff happening, right? Like, I don't want to be super conspiracy, but there's got to be something where people are just like, okay, we have to lead the masses into unconscious.
I 100% agree with you. I mean, so for example, if you put that cap on of like the conspiracy cap, and you have to think like a basically reverse way of thinking, how do I make the majority of the because the majority of the population doesn't read, they don't think, they don't act upon their actions long term. They just very in the moment. So if I know the majority of the population can do that, if I can control their music, I can control their media, and make sure they stay in a certain level of thinking, on an average, I can make sure that I have a person who, one, votes for me, because I think that the majority of all actions when it comes to this is based on voting. They need a certain demographic of people to always keep X individuals in power, because if they stay in power, they create a dependency. Once that dependency is created, it's a self-perpetuating cycle. They can create a narrative, create a problem, like, for example, like Ukraine, and perpetuate whatever narrative they want to, and they'll always stay wealthier. They always, basically, they don't have to worry about anyone changing. They always stay in power. The same families, same elites. So, I mean, it's a good calculated game for them.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true.
Whoa.
Had some comments. Yeah.
Oh, wow, we have some comments over there.
I was responding to them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, I tell people, like, I love conspiracy theories. I love going into the information. So, for example, not to derail this conversation off the dating sphere, but like when COVID first came out, there was also obviously that 1 month period. But when I started going through the statistics and the numbers and breaking down what is COVID, why is COVID, the definition of it, and then breaking it down even more, and why our government numbers were very skewed at best, you'll see that there's a narrative being pointed out there, so to get everyone to think that XYZ is dangerous. And once that thought is out there, then there is no thinking to it. They can take away your rights, they can take away your guns, they can take away basically your entire freedom, except for the state of Florida, because you guys got
we didn't have much of a lockdown in Florida. I will say. Yeah.
Texas also, I think Texas was also quite open, right?
Yeah,
because they have their guns. Yeah.
The most normal place during COVID was the beach. There was like no restrictions. It was great.
I was in Spain. It was the worst, one of the worst lockdowns. You couldn't leave your house. If you go on the street, they can fine you like $200 just for being on the street.
Really? In Europe?
In Spain, yeah. And then in Germany, it was way more chill. And my family we are from like a village. So after 3 weeks, I was like, Mom, can I come home? She's like, yes, please come home. And then I went home. It was like the best decision ever. Like just nature, going outside, no more fear. Literally like forgot COVID, right? From just like stuck inside with like my flatmate was like a weed addict basically. And he couldn't get it to his weed anymore. So he was just like getting super anxious and annoying. And he came up to me like, look what they're doing to us. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God.
And they'll count that as a COVID side effect, right?
Pardon? Yeah.
No, like because of COVID, like that, the stress of that, like caused by COVID.
Yeah. No. When I came back from the street, he was like, bro, you have to wash all your clothes, take off the shoes, take them out. I'm like, what the fuck? You know?
So, and it's very interesting. Like when you look at the demographics of like just the age category, you'll see that the younger population, you talk about like 10-year-olds, 15-year-olds, like non-adults during COVID, now think that, you know, masks can protect you from pretty much protect you from COVID. Like we have trained, the people who run this system have trained our younger population to believe them and honestly don't even look at evidence. So people are us millennials and older group people, we have no voice. We have we don't now voice, a reduced voice.
Yeah, they hit us on all emotional levels, right? And to be honest, in the first 2 weeks of COVID, they hit me as well. I was in fear because I didn't know what the virus was, you know. I didn't know what's going on. There were like people, like the army was coming into Spain, you know. We were like, holy shit, right? So the first 2 weeks, they really got me.
Yeah.
But then, a few months later, I was like, oh my God, like what's going on? Yeah. It was
very scary. I'll say like a pre-run before COVID was the swine flu. So I was in the military during swine flu. We had we had the same thing happen that COVID did, but not the same outcome. We had some lockdowns, but not the full lockdown. So it's very interesting when you look at these type of diseases that come out. It seems like the narrative has to be the exact same. No evidence. Push out a vaccine as fast as possible, and
I didn't follow that one as close. I remember it, but I mean, it wasn't as crazy. Like, I mean, we weren't locking down and stuff.
During swine flu, I got tested with the first batch of the vaccine. So I was in the Air Force. If you did not know, the military gets tested with all the vaccines first. So. Round one, I took that vaccine and I got put into the hospital. Wow. Out of like 9 years in the military, outside of my car accident, I've never went to the hospital. Had no reason to.
For the swine flu, you get the vaccine, though.
Yeah, that vaccine was horrible. Half our unit was in the hospital. Then not normal like hospital, like ER, because they just couldn't breathe from the shots.
Wow, I didn't hear about that.
Oh wow. Yeah. Like, it's very interesting. Like the negative sides of COVID only are, when it comes to the military, are never advertised. You won't see it on the news because we're basically the first people to test out any vaccinations that come out.
I think I knew one person that had the swine flu. They went to like a football game or something and got it, and they were sick for like a week.
Yeah. Did you guys get the COVID vaccine?
Negative. No, sir.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, economically, like it didn't really affect me when it comes to like it controlling my income or not. Because I know many people, if they didn't take the vaccine, their jobs is like.
Yeah, my mom is a nurse, and they were like, if you don't take the vaccine, you're gonna lose your job. And she's like, okay, let's see.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
If you guys need me more than I need you, you know. And then in the end, everything crumbled. Now there's nothing. Like, oh yeah, you didn't take the vaccine. Oh yeah, it's all cool, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It's actually a very interesting. This topic came up on a video I was watching. They're talking about like if you ever have an emergency and you're trying to get blood, do you take vaccinated blood or unvaccinated blood? And a lot of people are arguing about this, and people are like, I don't want vaccinated blood because of the possible symptoms that you can get. So you may be safe from the emergency, but you might die from a heart attack.
Isn't it all kind of like mixed in now, though?
No, they're starting to separate the blood.
Oh, wow.
So this is very, I'll say this, I don't want to say scamdemic, but that's the way I usually say it on my channel. But I want to see the long-term effects of what happens with this, like 5-10 years from now.
Yeah.
If we ever get the data, right?
Yeah. I know one thing's for sure. I know COVID did affect the dating scene. Like, it seems like it complicated things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah. There was also one big thing. When COVID happened, I made the decision I want to become a coach.
Yeah.
But it's like literally the worst time to start a dating coaching business.
So but a lot of people started their new venture during COVID, actually.
Yeah. But it's like what you can do, like online dating. That's what you can advertise, you know?
Yeah.
It's like online dating is, you can do it, but it's not my favorite avenue.
Right? Yeah. Shouldn't be the first first avenue.
I have a question for you about that. Do you, when you're coaching your clients about dating, what is their aspect about, like, what are their thoughts about online dating? Like, should they be doing that, or should they just focus on like people?
Honestly, I say, like, I see it as a supplement, right? So let's say you don't have any woman in your life, right? You completely, like, you have been for 3 years out of anything or something, bad breakup, whatever, and you're too anxious to talk to girls right now, right? You can use online dating to see, like, because you get feedback, right? If you don't get any matches, like, your profile is crap, then you can improve from there. So I see it as a supplement. But then you still, obviously, if you never learn to talk to women, like, sober on the street or in a bar or whatever, in a club, then online dating is not going to help you so much, right? Because and usually also, like, no offense, but girls on online dating are usually, like, for the streets, so.
Yeah,
they've been on there, right? They've been on dates before, so it's like, do you want a girl who's been on Tinder for like 10 days before you? No.
Yeah, it's a different scene for sure.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm meeting girls from Tinder as well. As I said, it's a supplement, but I can go out. Like, I approach in my life like 7,000 girls or something. I don't know, right?
Yeah. Meet organically. Yeah,
but some girls you're never gonna see them, right? So if you see them on Tinder, then that's cool. But the thing is, if you do it as a crutch because you can't talk to women in the first place, right? That's
probably
yeah. Oh, also when it comes to dating, well, like, where are some big things that men can work on just to help them out in the dating scene?
I think the biggest thing is, first of all, to maximize your looks as well, as much as possible, because most guys, I see guys running around, they talk to girls left and right, but they don't dress properly, they don't have a gym membership, and, like, they're just not well groomed, right? Like, I can tell a story. Once I came to Barcelona, I met this guy. He's like, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been with, like, the old school guys, and, like, his lips were, like, super dry, right? Like literally, like, falling apart, desert stuff, right?
Wow.
And I was like, so if, like, you've been in this for 10 years, you think any girl wants to talk to you with this? Like, I didn't tell it to him, right? But I thought, you've been doing this for 10 years, but, like, your lips look like this, like. Self-awareness is, like, the first thing, right?
Yeah.
So, like, dressing good and then looking good, and then the gym. If you don't go to the gym at least 3 times a week, you're not even in the game, basically, right?
Well, I was going to say, not just gym membership, but going to the gym. That's the important part. Yeah,
going. And then if you're overweight, like, lose some weight, right? Make small steps. If you're super skinny, like I always say, no girl wants to be with a guy who has thinner arms than hers.
Right.
And I see that as well. I see guys who are thinner than the girls they're hooking up with, right?
Yep.
So that's one thing. But that's more like the superficial stuff. But and then obviously talking to girls, being able to approach girls sober, and wherever and whenever, right? That's, like, the 3 most important things. The thing is, like, if you just start approaching girls, but you don't fix the appearance, you are making it so hard for yourself in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of talk in the community, like, looks don't matter, right? Okay, if you've been doing this for 10 years actively, you could say looks don't matter, right? Because you're, like, so skilled, right? It's like a salesman who's been doing sales for 10 years.
Very
he doesn't have to show up in a suit because potentially his sales skills are so good, right?
Yeah.
But he's making it hard on himself if he dresses like shit, and it's like the same thing. Like dating or pickup and sales are very similar, actually, right? You have like a funnel, and then you have some people going through the funnel, which are your dates. And if you can approach dating like this, I think you're gonna get more successful as well.
Yeah. You got to have a confidence too. The looks aren't just everything, but
when you're coaching males, like, do you talk about like how much they should be spending on dates, or how's the finances when it comes to dating?
You should never do dinner dates in the first place. Keep it low investment, right? You want to be like, go for a walk in the park or something, or just grab a beer or like a drink in a bar, you know?
Yeah.
And you can pay for her like the $5 Pepsi or whatever. That's cool. But yeah, don't do dinner dates, because immediately you're going in like with way too high investment.
Yeah.
And she might just get a free dinner, and you're like, oh yeah, my 5th free dinner this week. So
it's a good ROI for her, low ROI for the guy.
Horrible.
Yeah.
And you want to keep it low investment, right?
Yeah.
Because if you have a lot of dates, like, you don't want to go on 4 dinner dates a week either. It's expensive and not time sensitive, right?
Yeah. So for the usual financial audience, we're talking about the ROI of
1 second, guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll just keep going. Is that water you have there?
No, it's vodka.
Oh,
no,
nice.
It's water.
Yeah.
I don't drink.
Oh, really?
I told you, no alcohol, no caffeine, and no.
Right. You said you detoxed from coffee, right?
Yeah, I'm still detoxing, but I'm actually I'm like almost at 100%, I would say.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah, I did it for a month. Honestly, I could take it or leave it. I'm not dependent on it.
I was dependent on it, especially for my workouts. Like today in the morning, I went to the gym. I was like, oh man, I really would like this extra kick right now.
Yeah. I got to the point I used to need energy going to the gym, but going almost every day, kind of getting in that routine, it helps me. Like, I'm always ready for it now. I'm not tired, you know?
Yeah. That's how it should be. That's how it should be.
Yep.
Yeah, you can. I think I accumulated some fatigue over the last weeks, and now it came through over the last 3 days as well. Even though I only had one cup a day was like my max, and still I feel real withdrawal.
It gets to where for coffee, like, it has less effect. You can keep drinking it.
Sorry about that, guys.
No effect after a while.
Yeah, but I get super anxious. I get super anxious if I have too much.
Jittery and stuff.
Yeah, even to the point that I can get a panic attack if I have like way too much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm quite sensitive as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Ooh. But yeah, where were we with the dating stuff? With the dates, I think, right? ROI. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, also when it comes to dating, like, how do you guys for example, you have a male who's you said the other individual was dealing with a lot of like software engineers, right? Are these individuals like looking for women in certain income brackets, or how are they selecting their mates or dates, basically?
I mean, honestly, a lot of them, they just want to have one date, get a date at least, at least one date here and there, because they have like literally nothing going on for themselves, right? And then other guys, they are like already qualifying for girlfriends, they want like everything going on. It all depends, because some people are like, okay, I'm 22, I want to hook up with lots of girls, right? So it's like a different filter. You're filtering more physical. And then if you're looking for a girlfriend, you're like, okay, what else apart from your looks, right? And it depends really, because if you have guys who are 21 and then you have guys who are 48, it's all mixed.
Yep.
It really depends what you're looking for, right?
And how actually, to go back to we were talking about the physical stuff, are a lot of your clients like overweight? Like, how would you say they look physically?
It's also too mixed. I have some guys who are a bit overweight, and then I have some guys who are in amazing shape, and then I have some guys who are just normal shape. So yeah, difficult to say. But the guys who are overweight, the first thing I do is like, okay, we're gonna work on your weight. This is like weight and appearance is gonna be priority. And then we also, at the same time, we're also gonna be like, okay, when you see someone, talk to them. I give them some resources to read as well, to like get the mindset going, the mindset, like, okay, the value I have as a man, because many guys think that when they are 30 in their 30s, that they're getting old for dating, right? That they can only date girls in their 30s, which is like the furthest thing from the truth. When you're 35, you're the most attractive to a girl who's 22. Like I've been seeing so many girls. They told me I never dated a guy who's 28, like who's not in his 30s. You're the first one. I'm like, okay, why? Yeah, because like you're different. You seem like you have experience, But like guys in their early 20s tell me they don't even date guys like under 30, and that's many guys don't even know that. Like many guys think that, okay, woman, man is like they go like this, they go together, right? The attraction, which is like furthest thing from the truth. Like man, they don't even have a expiration date, basically.
Makes sense.
Well, also about that, like what type of education should people be reading to help them basically do better in dating?
Yeah, what I always recommend my guys is to read The Unplugged Alpha from Richard Cooper. I don't know if you know this guy. He's quite big on YouTube as well. The Unplugged Alpha. And then I always recommend The Rational Male from Rollo Tomasi, which is like
I heard about that.
Yeah, this is like the most red pill, but I'm not a huge fan of the red pill, right? The red pill community can be quite toxic, and you can get like, it's called red pill rage, where you're like, oh, fuck all women, they're all this and this and this, right? That's not, because the world is not that black and white, right? But it's a good framework to have. That's what I say. So I recommend them this book, but then we talk about that book more in detail, because it's not, you can't see it that black and white, right?
What was the second one?
The Rational Male.
Okay.
And then the third one goes a bit more into spiritual, but it's also like, as a man, that your purpose is more important than woman, right? So your purpose has to be always number one. That's also most guys don't understand. That's why they fail in dating, because they put the woman over their purpose, right? And that's, for example, if like a war would break out, right? Like US against whatever, Mexico. And the yes, like, okay, every man has to go, like Mexico's super strong, right? And you're like, oh, I don't want to go, and your girl is like, oh, please don't go, and you're like, okay, and then you break your foot and you tell her like, look, I'm not going, deep down she's gonna be like, oh, what a fucking bitch, like there's a war going on for the country, so she's saying some things, but deep down she doesn't want them, right? So the purpose should always be before the girl, right? And they can sense if that's not the case, and that's super unattractive for women as well. So that's where the third book, The Way of the Superior Man, he goes deep into that topic. And I would actually recommend The Way of the Superior Man maybe as first, even.
Superior Man. It's a good book.
It's up on the screen here. I'm just searching for them.
Yeah, because like reading, I said like reading books will definitely help you. This is broaden you out, because like even for my own personal clients, like when I talk to them like financially, like how are you building your portfolio? One of the main things that come up is that one, they don't ever study. They don't ever want to learn anything outside what they're currently doing. They want to be basically given the answers. Tell me what to do. I'm like, listen, I can only give you some information, but you need to act upon it. Like, how is that with your clients? Like, how is it for acting upon information?
Yeah, that's true. I had actually my first client ever. He just couldn't do anything, right? He was like, oh, I'm so hyped to do something, and I told him, look, he had a lot of social anxiety, right? So I told him, hey, let's just go out and you ask a grandma for the time, right? And he couldn't do it. He couldn't even do that. Yeah. And it's like, okay, this is like the lowest task I can basically find, like find a grandpa asking for it. He was like, I'm going to do it. I'm definitely going to do it. And he never did it. Right.
Really?
So, yeah, in the end, how much can you do, right? How much can you do? If someone gets into a fitness program and he's like, I don't want to go to the gym, I don't want to eat clean, like, what can you do as a coach?
How do you expect the result?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, everyone in his time, right? Everyone in his time.
Same things comes in terms of investing. People want it just handed to them. It's like, no, you got to earn it. You got to try. Yeah.
Short-term, instant gratification, right? That's the big problem these days.
Yep.
Especially, I think investing is like the best example for long-term thinking.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yep.
And I hope, like, for any of the viewers watching, like this is helping you guys just get a different perspective or a different mindset. And like when I was in my 20s, long-term thinking it wasn't there. Like as I got closer to 30, I started thinking much more long-term. Mm-hmm. And that's possibly why more females around the younger age can see, like, oh, this guy has, if he's 35 saying he's the most attractive, possibly has a lot more built up that can support that female versus the 21-year-old or 18-year-old just basically starting their lives.
Yeah, that's exactly the case. Why this is the ratio right now? Because back in the days, it was usually like you were 20 and your girl was like 19, and you stayed together and then you got married or something, right? Back in the days.
Yeah, for life. Yeah.
Because back in the days, it was possible to just get a mortgage, working as like a butcher or something, right?
Like with one income. Yeah.
Yeah, but these days, most people, they get it takes more time, and it's like we live longer with our parents and everything. So most guys only get successful in their 30s, right?
Yeah.
That's why women are like, no, I don't date guys in their 30s because they have something to show to show me, right?
True.
That's the big reason, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And based off of that, I think this is a good way for men, just in general, just to look at that perspective, just to level up. Because not saying that women have impossible standards, but a basic standard of love, having income. Because a lot of my clients, they'll come to me and they'll be like, okay, I want to be a multi-millionaire trader. I'm like, well, statistically, that's not going to happen. But just break down the numbers. And I tell them to, like, listen, you need a job, J-O-B. Keep a job for a year.
What's that?
Yeah. Well, thank you. Exactly. I don't understand why that's such a hard concept, but I think if men took more responsibility in their own lives, the women will come as a byproduct of that.
Yeah. I mean, many guys don't want to do the hard work anymore, right? They just look at YouTube at like 22-year-old multimillionaire entrepreneur, like Iman Gadzhi, and they're like, I want this, but they don't know that this guy started with 14 his entrepreneurial journey, right?
Yeah.
And it's not all easy peasy, like marketing, sales. Yeah, they're gonna tell you it's gonna be the easy road to success, but in the end, it's not that juicy usually. Right?
I always like it how people come here to the United States with nothing, and they make it. Like they become hugely successful. Yeah,
I mean, the wages in the US are really good. So compared to, as I said, in Spain, like the minimum wage is like 1K, right? 1,200. Yeah, that's like what most people earn in Spain. So
wow. But don't all these European countries, do they do more like for their people? Like they have more programs and stuff?
They do have more benefits, like healthcare, everything is cheaper. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's true. But in the end, still, I think in the US, like I always thought like, okay, Germany and US is like similar, right? Like, but then I was in the US and everything is way more expensive, but people also earn way better, right?
Yeah.
So it is, but
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've never lived long term in the US, so I don't really have too much economic knowledge.
Yeah. Well, our people don't think that here. Like you see all this stuff about how they want to raise the minimum wage and stuff, but different perspectives really are interesting.
Yeah. I think you guys have it. I actually read a post today on that on Twitter from a Spanish girl I follow, and she was talking like in the States everything is so much better because you can you make some money and you can put it on the side, Yeah. But the problem is in the US, like the consumption is also through the roof, right?
Oh yeah.
So people spend money on stuff they don't need.
Yep.
And they have horrible nutrition, so they don't even function on a high level, and then they wonder nothing's working, right? So
it's a tricky thing too. Like I was talking about, like with Gen Z, and that's the challenge I've experienced is that like these people, they've had everything they want. So it's like it's hard to do something special for anyone because it's like they've just always had everything they want.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like just chilling and I was like, damn, we have like supermarkets, right? Everything is in one market. Mm-hmm. Just like a few years back, you had to go to the butcher, to the cheese guy, to the egg guy, you know, and you had to walk around and you didn't have a car. I mean, maybe you had a car, probably not. But like now we have like a supermarket and it's like the most normal thing ever, right?
And, well, or like now it's like, can I drive you, save you some money on an Uber? It's like a half a mile. Oh no, I don't want to walk. Really? It's like a half a mile, you know? I'm used to walking, you know, that's my thing.
Yeah. So. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of bad for the world, but the competition is getting less.
Yeah, I like the competition part because as life becomes easier, like our standard of living is around the world has gotten better and better and better. And I would say this is probably one of the best times to separate yourselves from the normal people, which is not a bad thing if you want to live a certain standard of living. But for me, my entire, including my clients, we want to tend to stay in the top 15% of income earners. Mm-hmm. So if life is easy, it's probably the best way to set yourself apart from everyone else.
Yeah,
it's true. So I agree. I totally agree. Yeah, it's the best time to be alive. Actually, we are lucky that we are alive in these 2016, right? It's the most peaceful time ever on planet, and we all live in like the biggest abundance ever. Right?
Yeah.
Especially with everyone has a phone and they're crying. I read this meme. People are crying about capitalism, crying about all these things that happen around the world, but they got a $1,000 phone in their back pocket wearing like $200 jeans, and they have Starbucks sales like $15. You know.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Like, what are people complaining about?
Yeah, it's like my dad. I hope he never sees it, but he's always complaining how shitty the politics in Germany are. And how shitty Germany is and everything. I'm like, bro, you live in Germany.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, if you want to find.
Yeah, you have insurance, you have everything. Like, you're like in one of the best countries in the world and you're crying. It's like, just stop. Just get out. Like, go to India and see what's happening.
Oh my God. There is some, I would say if you go near India, like Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, when I went backpacking through there, if you talk about healthcare or clinics, you would be like, when I went to a clinic there, they were fixing. I got to a motorcycle accident. They're fixing up my leg, and they're working on a donkey in the other room.
Wow.
So, I would say people need to put that in perspective. That if you live in Europe or America, or countries like that, you're doing pretty darn good for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people over there are usually more fulfilled with their lives, which is also interesting.
Yep.
They don't have to worry about politics. I mean, their country politics are obviously different. America's politics are very, it's kind of like WWE, like pro wrestling.
Yep.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
they're all friends at the end of the day, but they stage, I disagree with you, I disagree with you. But at the end of the day, they're all having beers.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. One of our best friends actually just became a wrestler. I think it's the gayest thing ever, but whatever.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh. Yeah. But let me see what else we get into. But
I was gonna say something. What was it?
What?
Yeah. No, we were just talking about like income standards and whatnot. Yeah, perspective, right?
Perspective.
And also when actually about the income standard, like if males or people are just taught in general, like why keeping a job? And you know what? I don't knock jobs. I haven't had a job in many, many years because I'm also self-employed. And that's a bit like this, keeping a job or some set of income and just saving for the future, building up a portfolio, either with stocks, crypto, anything, just saving something because it's going to benefit you either in your dating life, social life, family life, just doing stuff that keeps you responsible. Because in the United States, we have one of the highest levels of credit card use. So people in their young 20s, I'm talking like even some of my clients, like I don't know how this is even possible. They have no job, no income, and have $40,000 to $50,000 in credit card debt. How is that possible?
That's crazy. That is crazy.
when you ask them like what did you buy? Like I need to understand this. How did you buy stuff? And it's like it's the same things. Clothes. I bought a nice watch. I'm like, you mean watches, clothes, like wardrobes, and
people are just really bad with money.
Yeah.
That's also
at the retail, and then what they bought is worthless. They try to sell it later on eBay for pennies on the dollar.
That is one of the big things I've only seen in the US, honestly. The credit cards use. Like I've never overdrawn a credit card. Like I can't. Like I just say like no, I don't want to, right? And that's also one of the things where their regulation is missing, and the banks or whatever are just looking for profit, right? And these kiddos are destroying their lives. They're getting the interest, and they just completely destroyed because of course, with 22, you're not making good decisions, right? But they're completely abusing this power, like the banks, right?
And I don't say this to brag, but like with credit cards, like I've never paid a cent in interest because I only use them for cash back. So each credit card I have, I either get a promo offer or get cash back on it. So the banks, like I break their algorithm. Someone like me.
What's it called? And to lean it back to the manosphere, you know, like when I watch a lot of them. I watch a lot of Fresh and Fit. What else? Old Kevin Samuels. A lot of channels that follow that dynamic, mediocre reviews. And like when I watch them, because I'm always coming from an economic standpoint and political standpoint, because I study economics like intensely. And when I watch them and look at their actions, they're like, hey, men need to do X, Y, and Z. I tell them like a lot of their actions typically stems from one focal point: responsibility. If people just take responsibility in their lives, watch their actions, you know, they don't have to worry about music, they don't have to worry about politics. They just take care of themselves first. But I'll say when you're talking about what was that word you used? Toxic masculinity. I'll say toxic masculinity is growing faster than the manosphere, if that makes sense.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Because of the clicks. I watched this. This is a channel called the Toxic Male. Basically, it goes around and doing what basically the super male object thing. You know, I'm rich. I can have as many girls as I want. You know, basically everything that's rude and basically overly masculine. If that's like a term. And so many people watch it over the Kevin Samuels. You can say it's almost in the middle, kind of in the middle.
He was great. And, yeah.
Everyone else is watching the extreme stuff because one of the clicks, and it's entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, the toxic stuff is growing as well, and like that's what I said. Like the red pill or the manosphere is making a lot of damage because violence against women is on the rise as well, right? Because of that stuff, people are getting like, you only want the 1%, you don't deserve it, and then obviously you get angry, right? Because you want to be with someone at some point, and that's also one big danger of the whole bashing woman thing. You know, it's I think it's just step it up as a man, and the woman, they have to wake up at some point, or you go to another country, basically, right?
And there's a whole trend of the passport bros.
Passport bros. Yeah, that's true.
Very interesting. I mean, I've had this conversation with a few of my friends, like off video, and talking about like how American women are, how like Americans are. I'm like, when it comes to America, the main issue is not the people; it's just the rules involved. There is no benefit to get. Basically, when you're meeting person A and person B getting together, what ends up happening is that when people get married in the States, they involve the government, and the government is not even. It's not half male, half female. It is pro 100% towards females. And that dynamic gives them a leverage. They give them more power than is deserved. So causing this issue. That's why, to me, I think the majority of problems in the United States is just from a government standpoint. The government is just they have their hands in the cookie jar, in all the cookie jars, for no reason.
Exactly. You think the federal government, right?
Yeah, federal government, state government.
Some states are, I would say, the opposite. Like some states are, they're different. You know,
when I watch videos or I meet individuals that get married, just say you meet your spouse, you guys get married, and you guys married for 1 to 2 years. She divorces you for for whatever reason, and now you have to pay her alimony for 18 years.
No, prenup.
No children. I would say a prenup would exist, but I mean, I've gone through the laws and gone through some of the books. Prenups are not respected by all judges.
Wow, interesting.
So that's why when it comes to the passport bros, I understand why people go overseas to get married, just to get away from the Americanized system, the legal system.
So many rules here.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how important it is that if at some point you want to marry, which, I don't know, like in Germany, it's not that cross. In Germany, it's 50-50, pretty sure. But even though like this decision is like such a huge decision, not just financially, like for everything, right? Your whole life. And that's why it's so important to make the right decision and know the value you bring to the table as a man, and that your value usually goes up if you are into self-development or improving yourself. And then knowing red flags in women, right? Which most guys happily oversee because they don't have any options, right? So these are all things you have to be super careful about.
Oh, I had a question for you, because there is a rising rising employment when it comes to women doing OnlyFans. How have you dealt with any of the males trying to basically deal with that type of dynamic or type of woman?
Yeah, I'm talking to guys here and there who are like, oh, I just spent $1,000 this year on this girl in Colombia just for talking to her. I'm like, what?
Wow.
What's going on? And he's like, it's like, oh, I'm in credit card debt and this and that. I'm like, how do you have whatever, right? So, that happens. And the crazy thing is, I lived in Colombia for 5 months, right? And the OnlyFans stuff is like so normalized. Having OnlyFans is like, it's like another job, which pays better than any other job, right?
Yeah, it's a side hustle for sure.
It's so like I was dating this girl, and she's a virgin. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then she's like, oh yeah, my cousin is on OnlyFans, and like she's doing content right now with her boyfriend. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Yeah, it's
wow.
Wow.
I was
even prostitution, unfortunately, is very normalized.
Yeah. I mean, I understand, because like when you, if there's a couple books that I have that talk about this. Every dying nation, like you have one nation that leads as an example. Every dying nation, when it comes to female promiscuity, always increases. So when you have the United States, you can tell it's a dying country because there's 7 stages to a country dying. We're in the 6th, almost entering the 7th stage of a failing country. And you can see that every single country, when you look at Rome, Athens, promiscuity goes up to the roof. You'll see things like very similar to the LGBTQ. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying anything about that, just stating that as a factor that every single time a country dies, you'll see sexuality blow through the roof. You'll find many things. You'll find back in the old days, we call them the Coliseum, the games. We call them now the NBA. We call it football. That these things are entertainment. So I tell them, like, this is a good signal that if OnlyFans is a good income, that your country is on a very downward spiral that needs to either be corrected, or you're going to be either having a failing country.
Yeah, I think, I agree. There's only so much we can go, and then some, because I think in the next decades, we're going to go back into conservatism. Like people want to be like, I just want to have like a man who's like there for me, you know, I don't need the millionaire. I just want to get married. I think we're going to go back to this, like in the next 40 years or something.
Yeah.
That'd be actually really nice. Because if we do cycle back to that, which I mean, I know other ways and cycles back to even just normal thinking, like settle down, have a family. But we got to get away. We got so many hurdles. We got what's that? Not Cardi B. She's that Lizzo. We have so many Lizzos out there that guide the masses. It's very difficult to break that. We got too many Kim Kardashians running the system.
I think right now we're on the phase, like when cigarettes came out, right? Everyone was smoking cigarettes and it was healthy. So it's good. And now we're on the stage like TikTok, OnlyFans, nothing wrong with it. It can be healthy even, right? And then a few years later, we're like, this is super damaging, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be like this public knowledge where people are like, don't do this. TikTok, like 10 minutes a day or something, you know?
Yeah.
And then the world might balance out. Who knows?
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting because I started going to college, I think a month and a half ago, started taking some courses. And it's interesting. One of the females in the class, we're talking, you know, how we chit chat between lunch breaks. We were talking, I'm like, hey, you have social media? It's like, yeah, I've been on YouTube for like 5 years. I've been on social media. They're checking my stuff out. And we get to the girl, and she's like, yeah, I'm on TikTok. I'm like, a female on TikTok? I wonder what you post. She's like, what do you mean? Well, I don't know. Let me check. And we went through, it is like 99% thirst trap. The entire thing is just thirst trap. And then another girl came to our class and she's like, yeah, I have TikTok too. I'm like, I guess thirst trap. And it's so socially normal for females to post that on there. And
it's also easy dopamine, right? If no one judges you for it, if no one tells you this is not good, it's like, why should I not do it? I'm getting so much attention. I'm getting so much like pleasure and dopamine out of it. Like, why? If no one's stopping me, why shouldn't I? Right? It's like putting cocaine in front of your face every day, basically.
Yeah, it's funny because our society values a social media influencer so much. That's like the thing. Like there was a time like I could say what I did, you know, for my day job, and I would get this, oh wow, that's cool. And then it got to where, oh okay, oh that's what you do. But then I would start saying, oh, I'm a YouTuber, and I would get this, oh wow, you know, like I don't know if you get that too, Andre, but you know, it's like, oh, an influencer, wow, you know, it's such a respected field. Yeah.
When it comes to YouTube, like I've seen people starting channels and stuff, and I've tried to meet other content creators, and usually they always go into like so for me, I'm like finance, politics, like I'm very focused, and I don't put my personal business out there. It's only business for social media. But when I watch many new content creators, nothing wrong with it. It's just that their whole life is vlogging, showing off where they're eating. It's kind of like watching like Kim Kardashian, like just, oh wow, you're buying another bag. Wow, you're shopping. Wow, why is 8,000 people watching you? Why?
Look how much money she makes from that.
Yeah. And TikTok's a good example. Like I did some live streams on TikTok, and I'll watch people's lives, and there's a chick eating cereal, having 400 people watching her. It's it. And I'm like, what do I gotta do? I'm messing up.
Yeah. You know, we pick finance because of the high CPM. So the way YouTube works, finance pays one of the highest CPM rates. So
was it cost per
milli, which is like 1,000 views.
Oh yeah, CPM.
Yeah. So finance was one of the highest. I don't know if it still is, but it was.
Yeah, sports is also, I think, secondary for that.
Really?
They have the sports and betting. They have the highest advertisement payouts. So when people buy from them,
thought about doing a sports channel, but I don't know if I could. I'm not as into it as I used to be.
When it comes to dating channels or like, you know, men's growth, I've seen a lot of people, their ads, oh my gosh, like people are doing like $5,000 sessions just to meet up with somebody. And
wow.
Good example, I bring it up, $5,000. If you watch Kevin Samuel's stuff, his sessions were not cheap. Like, so
is that the sessions where he roasted people?
Oh no, those are for free. That's for man.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
those were great.
I don't see how people can go onto his channel, go onto a live stream and get embarrass yourself in front of millions of people.
Yeah.
And now you're a meme on other people's channels. They'll cut and paste and put you on their video.
Yeah.
I'm a 10. I got 5 cats.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, I love that. Like when you go like Fresh and Fit, we go around the table. So what's your rating just off the looks alone? Well, I'm 220, 230. I'm like 5'5", and I'm a 10. And everyone's like,
oh my god.
All right. So you and Beyonce, who looks better? Me. I'm like,
well, yeah. That's the problem. Like people are like, oh, just believe in yourself. You know, you're great. And there's no
honest like feedback.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Gosh, it's actually. I mean, it's very. I like Fresh and Fit, especially when they go into like I love their conversations with people, especially with their new cast of individuals. So, are you thinking about making a channel like that, like a Fresh and Fit, or like more like a Kevin Samuels, like a solo or a group?
Solo, I think. I might bring some girls in here and there for the clicks, you know.
You get the views there, yeah.
Yeah. But more like, hey, I just quit coffee, you know, I feel horrible. hey, like more like what I'm doing on my daily basis, mindset, development, but probably more solo stuff. Yeah, I think.
It's funny because in the finance space, the audience is almost all male. So I think like our audience are like 90%. I'm doing a little bit better in the female demographic. It's like 10% female.
I
can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because does this tally back on that? Like, especially when you talk about finances and like politics, is for me, I'm very analytical. I talk about data, and I just want people to grow financially as much as possible.
Yeah.
Skip all the BS, like straight to the point. But if you can mix that and also include females, your audience can be a whole lot bigger.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. Especially
maybe invite like girls and do like financial videos.
That's what usually gets the most views. The guy that has like the gold chain, the Lamborghini, the girls, like that gets the most views. Like they could not even talk about trading. They just have some charts in the background. It gets a ton of views. Yeah.
But that's the trick. Be actually good in what you talk about and have the flashy stuff.
Have that. Yep.
Like that's like the perfect stuff. Alex Homo.
Yeah.
I would say it's very difficult to do both. Like so for me, I trade full time and I program full time. I'm talking like you're talking about 12-hour days trading and investing. Like I manage an entire international portfolio and other people's portfolios. There is no free time. So when I watch channels that talk about like I made $100,000 trading, I'm like, oh, that's a nice girl. Oh wow, that's a nice Ferrari. Oh, you have a $5,000 course. Woo, weird.
Yeah.
10-minute video, 1 minute about trading, 9 minutes about whatever.
Yeah. And then I teach you to become rich, but I only got rich by teaching how to become rich, right?
Exactly. Yep. That's very common.
Charlie Munger, good example. All these Ty Lopez's and Grant Cardone's come around. $30,000, sit down in this chair, listen to me talk. $30K to sit down? Really? Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not a big Grant Cardone. I don't know, something sketchy about him. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I would say when it comes to like this, I'm happy we segued into this because since there's so many people jumping onto YouTube, it's like the rise of the false information. It is very hard for some like a normie to get on YouTube and distinguish good information and bad information. It's
true. Anybody can come across as an expert.
Mm-hmm. So especially if you're in the dating or men's development or helping out men, it's gonna be hard for people to distinguish your content versus some other dating coach's content. Kind of like I think his name is Bo Jackson or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe. Yeah.
Is it Bo Jackson or something like that? When he was dating and basically getting with all the women because he was such a funny individual.
Yep.
Is that his name? Something Jackson, but I just feel like it's gonna be hard for people to distinguish stuff, especially because my channel, if you ever watch it, it is dry, highly educational. I show statistics and facts about everything. So even the dating field, if you've noticed, I study a lot about dating, a lot about humans and why they have this dating problem. And I would say that the biggest problem why we diverged is mainly because of the government. They incentivized a problem. They created a problem. They gave the solution. And once you break up marriage and giving females the payment, hey, break up with your man for any reason, and we'll make sure he pays you for 18 years. You'll see marriage rates plummet.
Yeah. The big difference is also why the South, or like South America or the poorer countries, are more traditional, is because people are more to survival, right? Mm. The closer you are to survival, the more traditional are the roles in genders.
Yeah, true.
That's what you said. Like the government in the West, like women have the freedom to like sustain themselves. So they're like, why do I need men again, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why dating is so much different in these poorer countries. Because they are like, we have the traditional roles because we are not in the point where we are just balling and have iPhones, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually interesting when it comes to the traditional roles in other countries. How do you guys see like marriage? Is marriage rates better out there, or how's the family structure there?
I mean, it's way more family oriented. I think especially, Brazil, Argentina is way more family oriented. So I'm actually like, if I would live here long term, then I would even think about marriage. But who knows if the feminism like spreads further.
Mm-hmm.
But it is way more family focused. And always when I travel around and they ask me like, what are you doing here? Why are you not with your family? What do you mean you haven't seen your family in 6 months? Are you crazy?
Mm-hmm.
That's how tight they are here. And my ex, like my Brazilian ex, she was calling her mom every day for like an hour, and her dad, and just like everything.
Oh wow.
Right?
Yeah.
It's very, very, very different.
I found that those Latin American cultures are more tight knit family than in the US.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We are just a bit more cooled, I think.
That's actually really interesting, because if they're so tight knit about family, the government doesn't have enough space to get into their lives.
Yeah, that's well. Yeah, and they all support each other, right? So they have more kids because they know the more kids they have, the more resources I can accumulate. Like the old school way of thinking, right?
Yeah.
And that's in our West. It's like we don't want kids. Why? Because it's an expense. It's not a.
Yeah, it's like the opposite now. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's very different. Very different. And I like it. It's refreshing. Like here, dating, especially Brazil. Like Brazil is like the easiest country to date. It's like straightforward. A girl, she likes you. She stares at you. She doesn't look away until you talk to her. Right.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That makes it easier. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if they want to be with you, they stay with you. They come to your place. They drive 30 minutes. It's like so refreshing.
Awesome.
Especially Brazil is like the easiest country for dating. I can recommend everyone to check out Brazil.
Cool.
And the women also are obese. Women are in shape.
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah. Brazilian models. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, God, if you ever go to the States, just head to Walmart and you'll see like the largest humans. I mean, here in Vegas, it is difficult to see like going to a supermarket without seeing a large individual that's driving that, those little carts inside the store shopping for more food.
I was in Yuma, Arizona for 1 month in October, and Yuma is like a small city. So like usually the smaller the city, the more obesity, right? So this place was just full of just obese people. And my buddy, he has like a clinic, and he had like 8 nurses, and all of them are like morbidly obese.
Wow. Yeah. But yeah, he's spot on about Walmart. I avoid Walmart because I just feel like depressed about the world if I'm in a Walmart.
Because
I go if I have to, but I prefer to avoid it.
There?
What's that?
Because of the people working there?
Not working there, just the people there, like in general. No, the people working there are fine, but it's just I don't know.
It's interesting because like I've lived in Korea and I've lived in Japan. I've been to China multiple times, and it is socially frowned upon to be overweight. Like it is extremely difficult to find like an overweight a Japanese individual, male or female, and you'll see the females extremely tiny, you'll see no fat on their necks, no double chins. Like it's absolutely amazing. But in the States, they got us down, locked and loaded when it comes to that. I forgot her name. Not the Cardi B. She's that fat, overweight. Lizzo, thank you. She's like trending on everything. Anything she does is on TV.
Yeah.
Gosh, man.
Yeah. It is sad. I think I always get angry when I see overweight people. I'm like, you only have one body. Like, what are you doing? Right? It's like there's no benefit for you being fat. Like for no one in this world.
Some people say they can't help it.
That's a first world problem.
Yeah.
It's my thyroids, That's like the best one.
I may have some people that I get some roasting from over this.
Shit.
It's okay. I mean,
growing business here.
Yeah.
Well, you can send them to me. I'll buy them.
Yeah. How do they find you, by the way?
Facebook is the best. As
Okay.
I don't have a YouTube channel yet. It's Facebook. It's Tobias Omega.
Okay.
Or on Instagram, Tobi Moll.
Okay.
So it's TOBIMOLL. That's my personal Instagram account.
Okay, cool.
Here, actually, we can put the links. If you send us the links, we'll put them out. He can put them in the video so people can.
Yeah, we can do that. Yep.
Because this is actually I'm actually happy we had this conversation with a third person actually in a different sphere.
Yeah, this is the first like non-finance content I've done on this channel, so that's cool. Nice. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. How many podcasts have you guys done already?
Oh, we've been doing podcasts since October? So we've probably done several. I mean, like 10 or 12.
Okay. So every week you do one?
Yeah.
We try to do once a week. Yeah.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool conversation.
Yep. And we've been trying to get other channels and stuff on. We've been trying to, and what I'm starting to do, like I told Andre, like, you reached out on Facebook. So when I meet people on Facebook, I invite them on because, I mean, we've got an audience, so it's always, you can get your message out to the audience.
Yeah, that's cool. If you're interested in talking to other dating coaches with big following, I can also get you in contact with some of them.
Okay, cool.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I like that, different perspectives. What I really do want, if we can meet someone who has a very opposite way of thinking, like completely, I would say, left-leaning or completely liberal way of thinking. I would love to have that because the contrast of conversations would be so dynamic. It'd be fun for me. I love that. Someone who's against me.
I would agree. I don't really have people who are like super left. I have like one girl in Barcelona. She's a friend. She's more like, Spanish left. Yeah. But her English is not that good. So it would be a bit of a pain in the ass, I think. But no, like most of my friends, like they're all a bit similar to my, like I wouldn't hang out with guys who are like completely opposite. That's the problem. So
yeah. Right. It's harder and harder to be like with everything political. Yeah, it comes out eventually. Yeah.
Good though. Yeah, it's good to have someone else, like instead of having like a echo chamber, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
I'm going to start doing like live streams with the audience, like people that we get consistent viewers, like invite them on.
That'd be bomb.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've talked to a couple of them, but because they only comment, so I don't know how to reach them, but I have to wait for them to comment. But if I give them the link to this, I guess they could join.
Yeah. Yep. Do people can ask questions and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, they asked a couple questions so far.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Especially once the audience starts getting bigger. So once we finish this video, I'll talk about I'm partnering up with an agency to basically boost up everything.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
We can get off that. We can talk about that a little off camera then. But are you guys all good for this video?
Yeah, great discussion.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Good stuff. How do I find you, Andre, by the way?
So Andre McClendon, you can type me into Google or find me on YouTube. Andre McClendon across the board. I talk about crypto, politics, investing. I'm one of the few people on YouTube who actually show a real P&L, my entire P&L.
Yeah.
I will show you how to make profit statistically and why most clients, when they come to me, I show them why X amount of trading, if you do on a percentage, you can make, not guaranteed. The probability of making X amount of money is so much higher versus other trading styles.
Mm-hmm. That reminds me, I've got to show you the back test I did on the option one. Yeah,
we can get into that. I have NVIDIA with my testing robots, and it's interesting at best.
I'm going to end the live stream. Thanks everyone for watching, and see you on the flip side. Bye.
Awesome.
So we'll still be on here.
Live stream good now.